Welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be doing a little showdown. I got the inspiration for this idea from Scott from PA Woods and Water. A few weeks back he did like a little video where he did like a showdown between like a junk fly, a flashy pattern, like an attractor pattern, and like a natural pattern, I believe. So what we're going to do in this video is we're going to be doing a pheasant tail versus a hare's ear, because those two flies are basically like staples, and there's sort of like a debate whether a pheasant tail or a hare's ear is better. Me personally, I tend to use pheasant tails a lot more than I use hare's ears, but you know, we're gonna run both of them today and see which one produces more. Both of the flies are tied with copper beads and copper ribbing just to make it sort of fair. And we're gonna start with the hare's ear on the point fly just because I don't use the hare's ear as often, and I kind of want to give the hare's ear a good chance at, you know, producing some fish. So we'll start with the hare's ear on the point and the pheasant tail on the tag, and then if one's out producing the other by like a ton, you know, we'll switch them and give the fly that's on the tag the chance to be on the point so that it can produce as well. Because the reason I think the point fly is more likely to produce more than like the tag nymph is just because the point fly is usually closer to the bottom. So we're just gonna try to keep it as fair as possible. So let's go ahead and get into the fishing here and let's see what we can do, and leave a comment below. Let me know what you guys think the winner will be before you watch the entire video. And don't forget to like the video as well, and let's go ahead and get into it. All right, there's our first fish. Just had to re-rig, but we will see what this fish is on. All right, so you guys can see there, the first fish is on the pheasant tail. Nice, beautiful little fish. And we'll go ahead and get the pheasant tail out of his lip there, and we'll get him back in. And there's our second fish. And it looks like this guy is actually on the hare's ear. You guys can see the hare's ear right there in his mouth. Go ahead and pop that out. Nice little sparse spotted guy. Both of those fish so far, both actually decent little sizes for this creek. So that's nice to see that we're getting some decent sized fish as well. Currently using my 10-foot 6-weight shadow. That's our setup today. We're on a new creek, so I figured I'd keep it fair by coming to a new creek so that I don't know the patterns of the fish. And then also it's just like a little mountain creek, so I know that the fish won't be, you know, they're not keyed in on specific flies usually on mountain streams. So this is more of just like a raw test to see which fly will produce more fish in a sort of even environment. There's our third fish. Nice, beautiful spots on that guy. I was actually unable to see what that fish was on. So if I get any that we can't really see what they're on, then we're just gonna not count it. But if I don't get it to the net, but I was still able to see what it was on, we will count that. All right, there's our fourth fish, and he's on the hare's ear. I could see he's on the bottom fly. He just fell down there. I couldn't get him up here. All right, yeah, so that is fish number 4, 2 for the hare's ear. All right, we got another one on the hare's ear. It's a brookie. All right, so unfortunately I went to go film that fish, and right when I went to go get the camera out, he got out of the net. So didn't get to show you guys the brookie, but that's number 3 on the hare's ear and only 1 for the pheasant tail so far. All right, guys, this is our first fish in a little while, actually. Looks like a decent sized brownie. And looks like he is on the hare's ear. All right, guys, there he is. Nice, beautiful little brownie. We'll go ahead and get him back in. So if we continue to stumble upon more runs like this, then I'll probably stay here a little while longer. But before I found this, I was actually considering relocating because they seem to be eating a lot better this morning, but it only lasted for like a half hour. So I mean, if we aren't getting much here, I'm probably gonna head out around lunchtime anyway and get something to eat and then just relocate. But I might head out a little early if we're not getting into anything else here. All right, we are relocated and we're gonna see what we can do here. We still got the pheasant tail and the hare's ear on. So the hare's ear is on the tag and the pheasant tail is on the point. All right, tiny brookie, but we got him in and we were able to see what he was on, and he was on the pheasant tail. So that's another one for the pheasant tail. All right, this is looking like one of the more promising holes we came across. There we go. I saw that one. That fish was on the pheasant tail. Those 2 fish are the first 2 I've gotten into so far. Hopefully they are turning on a little bit here. I've been fishing for about a half hour now here, and just caught those 2 fish within like 5 minutes of each other. For the first like 20 minutes, we didn't catch anything. Oh, that was a good fish. I did not see what he was on. There we go. Oh, this is a good sized brown trout. He's on the pheasant tail as well. Dang, that is a nice fish. You guys can see there's the pheasant tail. I'm gonna get it out and then we'll get a release of him. All right, guys, we just got into this nice beauty. It's actually a really good sized fish for this size creek. Bill said there was some pretty nice ones in here. Nice, beautiful red adipose. Go ahead and get him released. All right, so I am hopeful that they're just now starting to eat, because like I said, there's a ton of flies coming off. I just wasn't catching anything for that first 20 minutes there. We've only caught fish from that one little area. We caught a nice one. I hooked into another one and missed him. And then I think we got 3 out of that hole, and then we caught that brookie, but we only landed 2 out of that hole. And other than that, they're just, I mean, I haven't caught anything. Now, granted, there are midges hatching off, and we're using just a pheasant tail and hare's ear. Well, never mind. There's a fish there. That is a brownie, and he is on the top fly, I believe. Nice little beauty. He was on the hare's ear. That's just a gorgeous little fish. Almost sort of looks like a brookie, so colored up. This fish is on the pheasant tail. Small little brookie. There he goes. All right, guys, there gotta be a fish over there on that rock wall. I knew it. I knew there had to be a fish over there. He's on the bottom fly. Not the size that I expected, but nevertheless, it's a fish. So he was on the pheasant tail, so we're gonna switch. I'm gonna put the pheasant tail on the tag and the hare's ear back on the bottom. Look how insane this hill is, though. Or I shouldn't even say hill, it's definitely a cliff. Any of these rocks could just fall at any moment. Even these trees, you can see it's all torn out here. These things are just barely holding on. It's kind of scary, honestly, but it's also cool to look at, though. There's a fish. And that fish is on the hare's ear. And it's a nice, beautiful little brookie. Another big brookie. All right, and he was also on the hare's ear. So far today, it just seems like every fly that's on the bottom seems to be the top producer, but there were a few takes on the tags of both nymphs, so. This is that beautiful brookie, just another gorgeous fish. This stream has probably some of the most beautiful brook trout I've seen, for sure. And they're just flawless. Like, look at those pectoral fins. And there he goes. All right, so that is 2 more on the hare's ear right after switching it. And it seems like we're starting to get into some brookies. Getting up a little higher on the creek. That's normally how it goes for these mountain creeks. The browns tend to have a higher population downstream. And then as you go upstream, you start to run into more brookies. All right, this one's on the pheasant tail. Little brookie again. Tiny little guy. And this one's on the hare's ear. Another little brookie. All right, this is a decent brown. He's on the hare's ear. There's that fish. We're actually not going to count that one for anything because he was actually foul hooked in his pec fin right here. So Still beautiful little fish, but we're not going to count that towards anything. Granted, he might have took it and just missed, but I want to be sure that they took it. All right, that fish was on the pheasant tail. Pheasant tail is putting up a good fight, being on the tag. Beautiful little brownie. Oh, that was a nice brownie. I didn't get a good hook shot on him. So, unfortunately, I just lost another hare's ear and I'm down to my last one. So, if we lose this other one, we're gonna have to call it a day for this video. I started the day with about 6 hare's ears. I had lost some the other day, and I just didn't think I was gonna lose that many, so I didn't tie up any extras. All right, we just got a brookie, and he is on the hare's ear. Nice little brookie. So it's like impossible to drift flies through here with all this stuff in the way. So what I'm doing is just kind of dangling them down there. I've had fish sometimes take like that. But this is a great hole. And there it is. On the pheasant tail, I believe. Yep, he was on the pheasant tail. But yeah, sometimes when you're in like little holes like that, I know it's not really, I mean, if there's like a bigger, wiser fish in there, they're probably not going to take it if it's not drifting naturally, especially if it's a brown trout. But I like to just dip it in there. I mean, like you could see smaller fish that maybe aren't as smart, or you know, aren't looking for natural drifting flies, they'll come and take that fly sometimes. Usually it's more so brookies that take it like that, but I was actually surprised. I thought that was for sure gonna be a brookie. Ah, I couldn't see what he was on. That fish was on the pheasant tail. All right, this is a good brownie. He's on the top fly. This guy was on the hare's ear. Nice, beautiful brownie. So I've worked quite a bit of water. I know it looks like we've caught a lot of fish. I mean, we have caught a good amount, but a lot of that has been over like that 4-hour period of time. All right, guys, that is gonna wrap it up for this video. So to conclude, I'm not sure until I edit the video which one won. I believe the hare's ear won by probably a few, just because in the morning at that first stream, it outproduced that pheasant tail, I think 5-1. But like I said, like the conclusion of this video, I think would be just that, you know, they're both gonna work. They're probably both equally as effective. It kind of just depends on what stream you're on, and also it just depends whether or not you have that fly on the point or whether or not you have that fly on the tag. And if you're just using one of them and not using like a double nymph rig, if you're just using like size 16 like I was using today on a single rig, your fly might not even be getting down to, you know, where the fish are at and where they're feeding at. So if you're using like a single nymph rig, you might need to use a size bigger, like a 14 or something, just to get it down to the bottom where the fish are feeding. But yeah, I mean, caught quite a few fish. I mean, I had to put in the work. I've been fishing for about, I would say 7-8 hours. I did like 3 hours on that first stream and probably about 5 hours on this stream. So I definitely had to work for the fish. It was sort of like steady. Probably ended up picking up fish, you know, every fourth run or something like that. And most of the fish seemed to be in the deeper holes. Nothing was really pushed up into any like shallow riffles or anything like that. I did catch a really nice brownie out of that one hole, and I think I caught a really nice brownie at that first stream. And then we got a few beautiful little brookies as well. So I think after today, what I need to try to do is start using the hare's ear a little bit more. I still think I'm going to be a pheasant tail person just because from my experience, that's what I have confidence in. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I figured we'd just do something a little new. Like I said, I was inspired by Scott from PA Woods and Water, the little video he did that was similar to this. Don't forget to leave a like on the video, and then also leave a comment below. Let me know any suggestions for future videos like this. So that's gonna be it for this one, and until next time, peace.